The Reverso Chronograph is one of the greatest watches, I think, ever manufactured by not just JLC, but one of the greatest chronographs manufactured in modern history, and I really mean that. And that JLC Reverso Chronograph is one of 8 watches we'll be talking about today in today's collection review. This collection review comes as an American collection. I won't say where from. The gentleman's name is Shane, and he is a fabulous collector. There are a couple of watches in this collection that, standing on their own, you might scoff at. There's a Nautilus in this collection that you might look at from across the room and say, ugh. There's a Daytona in this collection that you may see across the room and say, that's that guy's one watch. Congratulations. And yet, when you look at the collection in its full context, and this is not even the full collection, but this is a good chunk, it makes perfect sense. The collection in its entirety is brilliant. Now, I don't think that's without exception, and I don't think that, I don't think it's perfect in the sense that I have no recommendation, because I certainly do by the end of today's episode. But let's go through the watches themselves first, and then I'll get to my recommendation, which I think is really special by the episode's end. So, starting off with this first watch, JLC Reverso Chrono. Watch was released about 2 years ago now, impossible to get when they first started coming about. I remember getting calls from Amex like Centurion concierge, and they were calling up all like watch dealers saying, can you get my client this watch? Can you please, we need to get it. Relax, I can't get it. You can't get it, I can't get it. I don't know what you want from me. Shane got it. This is an unbelievable watch. It flies under the radar almost completely, really. I mean, to the most people, of course, in the watch community, it gets all the credit that it's due. But this is a pretty much sleeper, home run, complicated watch. It is a chronograph that just rides that, I guess, just like balance, or rides that line between dress and sport so well. I'm a sucker for a skeletonized dial, but the big, obviously, criticism of a skeletonized dial is that, they're a little bit too busy. Well, the flip side of the watch is perfectly, simple, and this is a stainless steel example in blue. They also make it in rose gold, I believe, rose gold. I love this. I love this watch. It's perfect. I have literally no notes. It doesn't get much better. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. It just doesn't get better than this watch. Before I move on to the next watch, a quick wristwatch check. This is a Breitling from the 1940s in pink gold, dual register, unbelievable watch. Reminds me of a vintage Patek Philippe Nautilus chronograph. This watch is available for sale in the Theo and Harris watch shop. So head on over there and enjoy it. This is an incredible piece. Go and explore the shop. The next Reverso is what is essentially the exact opposite. This is what's called Sutter Dial. We actually had one of these in the shop a couple of months ago. Recently sold it to a client. What's interesting about this watch, this Sutter Dial, small Reverso. It is manually wound, beautiful, and it has a really kind of unique dial configuration that is very retro. It's very reminiscent of the 1930s when the Reverso was introduced. I actually didn't know that there was lore behind these dials until Shane, the collector here, shot me a message and said, hey, by the way, I actually have one of these. It's actually really cool, and politely, you actually don't know enough about it. It's actually a much deeper history. These are really rare dials made by a guy named Sutter. Like, it's a thing. Look it up. I had no idea. And I was actually underpricing it when I was listing it originally because I just didn't know that it was a thing, So anyway, these watches are very rare. They're manufactured in very low quantities, in rose gold with a black dial, like I had, in rose gold with a white-ish dial, like he has, and then also in white gold with a salmon dial. Really bizarre watch, absolutely beautiful. You almost never see these watches, really. I mean, you almost never see them. I've seen maybe 3 for sale, like, ever. They're extremely rare, and they do fly under the radar. Again, if you're a real JLC guy, sure, they're great, but anyone else, no one really knows, okay? Shane did have his family crest engraved on the back, which, of course, is the point, but also, like, who has a family crest? Come on, give me a fucking break, Shane. Like, what am I supposed to put on the back? A taxi medallion? I'm sorry, I just can't relate, but God bless you. Next watch here, a great one. Brings the collector back to earth a little bit with a Longines Flagship in green. And this watch on its surface, on its own, is awesome. I think it represents a lot of value. I love the color. I adore the brand Longines. The value ratio there, the dollar per how good the watch is like off the charts. Almost no one. I don't know if anyone does a better job than Longines in this endeavor. Okay, but he had to add some special sauce on there because he bought this watch at the Kentucky Derby, which is so cool. Longines is the sponsor of the Kentucky Derby, and it's a really big activation. There's branding everywhere. They actually have their own little boutique at the Derby, and I love that for many reasons. And one being, in this crazy world in which you would go to an event having no intention of buying a several $1,000 watch and leaving with a several $1,000 watch, that is like wild. Like what a thing we're living through, right? Generally speaking, the consumer journey in watches is, you find out about it, then you go home and you research it and you mull it over, and then a couple weeks or a couple months later you buy it. This is totally different. This is where you're here, it's awesome, this is cool, this is a special moment, do it or don't. And he did it, and he bought it. And I think it's amazing because a lot of other brands do this with different events, but Longines, again, Longines not robbing you. It's just not robbing you. It's just really good watches at really good prices. So you can leave that event after that impulse buy and not go, what the hell did I do? You just don't do that. And he talks about this watch all the time. And he wasn't the only one that bought him within the group of people that went and bought watches that day. I think that's great. I think that is so special, and that's everything that's right with the watch world, and I think he bought a great one. So this is a fabulous Kentucky Derby Longines Flagship. Love this piece. The next piece is one that we'll talk about now and then at the end of the episode. This is a JLC. This is a Perpetual calendar in stainless steel with a silver dial. I love this watch. I think, I have to take a deep breath before I begin my thought here because it's long. I love this watch. I think it is one of the great value props in watches. I think that to deliver a Perpetual calendar, I don't know what the retail price is right now, but I know you can get them under $15,000, somewhere between $12,000 and $15,000, depending on condition and location. That's amazing. That's amazing. Anyone that really cares about complication and aspires to own a Perpetual calendar one day essentially can for the same price as a Rolex Submariner. That's awesome. I love that. It's elegant. I am a soldier in the battle, for elegance in this world, and the good versus evil, and the sports watch versus dress watch. I am on the side of dress. Of course, we know this. But it is stainless steel, which there's nothing wrong with, and it needs to be stainless steel to keep things at a certain price. Of course, I'm an advocate for that. But we'll talk about this watch in stainless steel a little bit more toward the end of the episode, because I do think it's great. But is it great for Shane's collection? Now, the one objective criticism that I'll make about this watch is I don't love that it has the full date in its 4 digits at the bottom left. I don't love that little touch. Most brands don't do that. Patek doesn't do that. I don't think it's necessary, but I'll even let it slide. I think this watch is a subject of more interesting discussion later when we talk about, well, is this really the right watch for his collection? Despite it being, on its own right, a great piece. Next watch. This is a Rolex Daytona. This is a two-tone Daytona in black with a diamond dial. If you saw someone wearing this watch, you would assume it was their only watch because it's kind of the watch that you only buy if you know nothing about watches. Pretty much right. You only buy a two-tone Daytona, new from Rolex, for $20-something thousand if you're just not in the watch world. When's the last time you knew or met a real watch guy saying, yeah, I'm really pining over the new diamond dial two-tone Daytona? It's like, absolutely not. That's a watch that you maybe buy your wife to build up credit at the Rolex AD. No one buys these watches if they're really into watches, right? No one buys these watches that also owns a Reverso Chronograph or a Sutter Dial. It doesn't work. It doesn't jive. That being said, I actually love that because I think that this is, despite the lack of occurrence, right? Despite the fact that we don't see this existing in nature generally, people don't really wear these watches generally. I don't think that detracts at all from the fact that this is an awesome watch. It's a great bling piece, and I love a blingy Daytona. I think that the world loves a blingy Daytona at its most extreme level. The rainbows, right, are blingy Daytonas. I love gold Daytonas. I love gold Daytonas on straps, right? I am a big advocate for these sorts of watches, and I think that two-tone, while inferior to solid gold, even has more of a, hey, look at me. It even sends more of an 80s-esque message that I really like. It's bombastic, it's douchey. I love watches with personality. And this watch has personality for a lifetime. And I don't think he'll ever get tired of this watch. I can actually see a guy with a watch collection full of great watches, somewhat frequently, reaching for that Daytona and saying like, yeah, it's a Saturday morning. I'm gonna go, you know, whatever, or what, you know, you go to dinner on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night. Yeah, I'm gonna throw on my ugly Daytona, you know, because it's so full of personality. It's so specific, and there's something kind of hot about it. There's something alluring about that kind of piece. There's nothing lukewarm about this watch, and I really, really love that. The next watch is unbelievable. This is something I've actually never seen in the metal before until I saw Shane's here. Vacheron Constantin Traditional anniversary model with this wild motif, not just on the dial, but even consistent throughout the strap. This is rose gold, and it is beautiful. I don't see people buying dress watches. I don't see people buying Calatravas. I don't see people buying Traditionals. I don't see people buying A. Lange & Söhne Saxonias or 1815s. You don't see people buying these watches very often. It's kind of what I alluded to, or even said specifically earlier about the battle, right, between good and evil, the battle between dress and sport. These watches are not the most popular by any means. They're not hype watches or anything. When Vacheron Constantin sells a Traditional, they're like, we didn't sell it overseas, thank God. You know, like it's like a win for them. You know, selling it overseas is much easier. Everyone kind of wants one. Even if you don't want one, you'll buy it anyway because you kind of feel like it was special that they offered it to you. This is different. This is a watch that absolutely demonstrates that you know what you're talking about, that you're really into watches, that you enjoy elegance. If I saw a guy on an airplane wearing this watch, as opposed to wearing a Submariner or a GMT, I'd say hi. Because I would feel confident in the assessment and the guess that he's into watches. I love that. He's into watches and he likes elegance, right? That means that you and I have a lot in common off the bat. Okay, so I think that this is a great watch. Again, manually wound, rose gold, beautiful motif. If you look at the bottom left there, you even have the Maltese cross, which I love for a million reasons. And that's it, right? So I think this is a great piece. Jumping on to the next one. Rolex Day-Date, 40 millimeters, green ombre dial, presidential bracelet. Come on. This is big and bad. This is so over the top. I think it's amazing. I think that this is a better model than the flat green. The flat green is beautiful, but it is so much, if it's possible, louder. I think it's so much more specific. I don't think that Day-Dates go out of style, but I think that if one of these were to, it would be the flat green and not the ombre. I still love the flat green. I know many of you people out there own the flat green. I think it's great. I'd love to wear it. I would own it if if it was there. I think it's great. But I do prefer this watch. I love the ombre, and I think that is obvious, given that my personal green Day-Date is, while not the green ombre, closer in color to that dark, kind of rich green ombre like we see here. Now, on the 40 millimeter size, I'm a 36 millimeter Day-Date guy, and everyone knows it. I'm a 36 millimeter Day-Date guy. That being said, when I see a 40 millimeter Day-Date, particularly in yellow, on someone's wrist, I think it's amazing. I really do. I remember seeing it on Jonah Hill's wrist like 10 years ago when he was on a late night show and being like, wow, that's cool. There's something kind of hip hop about it, as opposed to Tony Soprano, and within the context of a well-kept attire, just that little bit of spunk, just that little bit of kind of badass whatever makes it worth it. I think this is a fabulous watch. Last but not least, Patek Philippe. See, I'm out of breath. 5726, annual calendar, Nautilus, Tiffany stamp. Fabulous watch. Getting this watch is not easy. I don't know how Shane got this watch. He sent me pictures from the boutique when he did. I thought it was really cool. I actually couldn't believe it. These are very, very hard to get. They are very, very hard to get, but it's a great watch, and it has that extra, sauce on top that I think is great. Shane does not wear this watch nearly enough. I think that is a great sin, Shane. You should be wearing it. You should be more comfortable with it. I know that he feels a little bit uncomfortable that it's a hype watch. I think that on its merits, he loves it. But I really got to encourage you to wear that watch, because I think that once that strap breaks in, or get an exotic strap that makes you even happier, and I think it will, I think you'll really start to wear that watch and enjoy it, and it'll become something that you're really wearing. You're not going to sell it, obviously. It's your Tiffany stamp Patek. You got to keep it, you got to wear it, you got to enjoy it. This is an unbelievable piece. I'm not going to talk more about it. Everyone knows that Tiffany stamp Nautilus are not a lie, or like impossible, and it's just super cool. I wish I had your watch. Okay. What should Shane do, and why? Well, let's start off with that JLC Perpetual. Even if I didn't know Shane, and I do know Shane, but if I didn't, I would say, do you wear that watch? I think you bought it because it's a brilliant watch. I don't think you bought it because it's a brilliant watch that you're going to wear. And those are two different things. You can buy something and want to almost compliment the thing and the brand for making it with your money. The money is the compliment. You did a great job, here you go. But that's not really why you should buy a watch. It's not really why you should make a watch your own in your collection, because if you're not going to wear it, then what are you doing with it? So my question is, do you wear it? Do you think that that's a watch that is getting the amount of wrist time necessary to justify ownership? Moving further, I know that the answer to that would be, well, it's $15,000. I don't need to justify ownership. It's not that much money. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but that is what Shane would say, and he's right. And frankly, most of you talk like that. You send me fucking emails. Don't get pompous now. I read your emails. I don't always respond, but I read. I'm doing my best. But it is true. The $15,000 is not going to make the world, it's not going to, he doesn't have any $15,000 problems, right? It's not like, I want to buy this other watch, but I'm 15 grand short. So there's no urgency to sell the watch. It's just true, okay? But I don't really believe in that. I don't really believe that that's the philosophy behind buy, sell, trade, keep. If you don't wear it and you don't love it, then you probably shouldn't have it. And particularly if you don't think that in time it's going to change. And the reason is because while it's fabulous, you're not the target market for it. You're the target market for a Patek Perpetual. That's just true. JLC is amazing, and you own creme de la creme JLC, relatively speaking. That Reverso Chrono is evidence that you can own a $30,000 steel JLC with complication, and I can say, that's you. It's brilliant, it's amazing, that's you. You're gonna wear it, you're gonna love it, you're gonna adore it forever. The market's cheapest luxury Perpetual, it's not for you, it's for somebody else. It's for the guy that is really comfortable around 10, 12,000, like a Submariner range, GMT range, that dreams of owning a Perpetual and knows he never will from Patek. That's who that watch is for. Next, I know that you love artistry. I know that you love wow factor. I think you go with enamel, absolutely. Whether it's with JLC, and JLC makes some amazing enamel reversos. I don't love the enamel reversos that just have the enamel on the case back because it's not in any way functional, whereas the enamel reversos with the jump bower on the back, the name is eluding me, but here's a photo. Those are brilliant. Those are just about as good as watches can possibly get. I would keep it on the jump bower enamel side forever. It's a perfect watch. Or I'd go with Patek. And in the Patek world, obviously there's more to play with, there are more options, and I'm sure whichever option you picked, you would create a fantasy and a story about, whether it's comedic or whatever, about the significance of the motif or of what's being shown, right? If it was a bird, if you got a parrot enamel on his dial, he would give a name to the parrot and tell everyone about the parrot's misdeeds. If you got the lighthouse being swallowed by water, he would tell the world about the storm. It's fun. It's all cheeky and it's stupid and it's fun. That's the whole point of this stuff. But that's the next for me. It's what is perfect artistry, what is the big brand, what is the peak I can get, basically, that it will still be elegant and wear and enjoy. That's why I don't recommend something like the world's greatest Nautilus. That's why I don't recommend something like a crazy Royal Oak. They're great watches. I just don't think it's you, and that's the most important thing. Just because a watch is great doesn't mean you have to own it. If the watch is great and it's you and you can afford it, then of course own it. And I think that that's the journey. Go get a ridiculous, enamel JLC or Patek Philippe. Get a couple. Get a world timer. Why not? These are amazing watches. I don't necessarily think you should liquidate anything in your collection currently. They're all great. They're great. And we haven't talked about this, but I'm sure that you're looking forward to, giving one or two to, a niece or a nephew or a son, of course, or whomever. Like, it's going to be a blast, and then a lot of these watches that you've got are givable. They're amazing. But I digress. One bonus watch that he was going to include but didn't is this chronograph with the triple calendar in black with the rose gold. It's one of the greatest watches ever. I have no notes. I would love this watch. I adore this watch. I've been talking about it since it came out with the red accents. I digress. I know that I'm off topic now, but this is an amazing piece. Definitely keep that, for sure. It's the best. I think it actually may be the best Reverso you have, best JLC you have, even though the Reverso is unbelievable. Okay, so I think that's it for this collection review. Please leave your comments down below. I know that was a lot, but god damn, Shane's got too many watches. Have a great day, everybody. Love you all. God bless, and I'll see you soon.